Deebo Samuel. And I kind of titled this Deebo Samuel bounce back season. You can call it comeback season, however you want. But he's on live. They're talking about him, or they're asking him questions, and they asked him about last year, and he says, "Man, I had an awful season." And Deebo is very straightforward. I was listening to Sirius Radio, and they mentioned, "Oh man, these players, or not the players, they were like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has to stop talking about Green Bay." I'm like, the only reason Aaron Rodgers probably brings up Green Bay or mentions Green Bay is because you motherfuckers ask him about it, right? Like if you don't ask the players about certain things, like they won't give you a response. So anytime in the media you ask Aaron Rodgers about Green Bay, he'll probably give you a response about Green Bay. It was the same with the 49ers and Deebo Samuel and those guys. Why the 49er players keep having the Philadelphia Eagles in the mouth? Well, I don't know. Maybe because these dudes keep asking them about the Philadelphia championship game. If you don't ask them about it, they won't say anything about it. But if you ask them, they're going to be real. Unless you want everybody to turn into Marshawn Lynch and just be like, oh, I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm about that action, boss. If you want everybody to do that, then cool. I like hearing the honest answers. All right. So, hey, man, you guys talk about it as much as you want. But Deebo Samuel, very honest. And he was asked about last year. And he said, man, it was an awful year. And I don't want to say blame some of it, but, he had some off-field distractions. All right. He was dealing with the contract negotiations. Obviously that maybe just threw off his preparation and how he would prepare. Now, Deebo, I call BS a little bit because you've prepared away anyways most of the time. Like now he was back this year at OTAs. He showed up. He was running on the side. I don't know how active he was during OTAs. And then obviously like mini camp, he was out there, and I don't even know if he practiced or not. I really need to get credentialed again. All right, so I can be there and we can have like my firsthand experience with what I'm seeing and get that out there. All right. But I say BS a little bit because like, bro, you're the one last year that was like, well, I don't, hey man, Trey Lance wants to work out with me. He got to come to Florida. Right. So he likes being in Florida. And that's your thing. Cool. But if that's going to be your thing, you got to show up with no issues. There's other guys that work out away from the facility. Trent Williams, I think he's one of them. Nick Bosa, he's one of them. We don't worry about them showing up and being good to go. So I say that I call BS just a little bit on the distraction, the contract stuff like that. You train away, man. Still get your work in. Get all your work in. And one thing I've noticed, all right, with me, let's say, and I have a lot of different obligations throughout the day, mostly, training athletes, stuff like that. But let's say I'm an NFL player and it's the offseason and you got to be certain places and whatnot. Yeah, whatever. It only take an hour to work out, hour and a half to work out. Like if you wake up, start your day with the workout, right? Whatever that is, on field, weight room, whatever, right? Hit the weights. We talking about 7 a.m. I wake up, boom, go hit the weights. 8 a.m. or 8:30, boom, I'm on the field. I hit the field, got my training with me. Cool. You got the rest of your day to chill. You got the rest of the day to chill. So, that's why I say, I call a little BS, Deebo. But I have also seen a trend. I kind of wanted to bring this up. So Deebo Samuel, throughout his career, I'm seeing a trend here, y'all. All right. 2019, his rookie year, played 15 games, missed one game. I want to say it was the game against the Washington Commanders. He had a good year. 800 yards, 14 yards per reception. He ran the ball well. Damn near had 1,000 yards that year between rushing and receiving. And good season. And that was even with him still figuring it out, right? Like to start the season, he's trying to figure it out. Remember, they had to go and get Emmanuel Sanders during that season, but that's the Super Bowl run. And Deebo had a good year. The next year, Deebo Samuel plays in 7 games. And I wouldn't even say he played 7 games because one of them he got hurt on like the second play of the game or whatever it was against New England. All right. Or was it New England? Was it Washington? One of those games, it was an end around, and then he like pulled up, he didn't play. So he really only played like 6 games, 5 or 6 games that season. All right. So again, rookie year, plays 15 games, does very well. Next year, injured most of the season. And then 2021, we know that what that was, right? Like that was his all-pro season, played extremely well. And then 2022, misses games, hurt, says he has an awful year. And I'm like, man, am I seeing a trend here? And if that trend is correct, I think we're going to have an amazing season from Deebo Samuel in 2023 based on the trends here. And it's almost like every offseason, he needs that year, that down year to be okay, it's time to turn up. It's time to turn up. And, Locked On 49ers, myself, Brian Peacock, come at you 5 days a week. It was interesting when we were kind of talking about Deebo Samuel and then just kind of my thoughts on the way he prepares. And there's some things that I've always thought was a little weird with Deebo. Not weird. I think he's selling himself a little short, right? It's like, Croc, who are you to tell somebody, listen, I ain't as talented as Deebo Samuel. But I'll never forget this, and I always bring it up when Deebo was asked about like watching players around the league, receivers, and he was like, I don't watch these guys. And it kind of might have been just the way he said it too, where it was like, how dare you ask me this, right? But it was like he didn't watch the guys. He doesn't watch other receivers. He doesn't take anything from anybody's game because they are not like him. He's not like them, and he's like, look, they can't do what I do. I play my game. So I don't really watch those guys. And I always felt like, it's like, you don't want to be more than this. He has really embraced this wide back position. And Deebo, coming out of college, when I evaluated Deebo Samuel and had him as a top 1, 2, 3 receiver in that class, right, over a lot of other guys, it wasn't because I'm like, oh man, look at this wide back. Oh man, I love the way he takes these handoffs. It was like, nah, like, dude's a legit receiver. Again, this was prior to me even knowing 49ers would draft him. Legit, light on his feet. Change of direction was good. Yards after catch was good. Route running was like solid. Like, was he, I'm trying to think of like, Jerry Jeudy, like with the routes? No. But routes were good. Pushing up field, he's a deep threat. Like, he did all these things. Like, he was a legit receiver. And it almost feels like each year, and I say each year, but really kind of after the 2021, we only got 1 year kind of to go off of, but it feels like he's embracing more of the wide back role and moving further and further away from what he was as a prospect coming out. But again, a guy really light on his feet, change of direction was good. Now, I did get a message about Deebo Samuel when the 49ers drafted him. A buddy of mine was a coach on that staff, and he said, man, Deebo, terrific player. The one thing that the 49ers have to worry about is when he's not working out, his weight goes up. His weight goes up. I think since, coming into the league, he was 215. And, my short time in the NFL, the New York Jets, one thing that I remember, right, I'm going through OTAs, you go through all that, and then the mini camps and everything. And then heading into the little off time before training camp, they give me this paper. They give me this form. And the form or whatever it was had like what they wanted from me. And one of the main things was like, we want you at 100. It was like 195, right? And I think at the time, like all throughout OTAs, I was closer to 200 pounds. Well, they wanted me at 195. It was like between 194 to 195, 193 to 195, something like that, right? And any pound over 195, I got fined $1,000. All right. And their main thing was, we want you to be the best version of you that you can be. And the best version of you that you can be will not be at 200 pounds, will not be at 198 pounds. It'll be between 193 and 195. And Deebo Samuel, I think at 215 coming out, like that was the best version of like purest receiver. Then you probably tell you 2021 when he had the All-Pro year, probably closer to 220. But I wouldn't want him to go too much more than that. Now, they got the wide back thing going on. He has these escalators in his contract for rushing yards, so maybe he packs on more weight to be able to take kind of a little bit more contact. But at 5'11", 220 pounds, I think that's more than enough. I mean, that's how many running backs in the league are like starting running backs are just bigger than 5'11", 220. 49ers ain't got one on their roster that's that big, right? So I think 5'11", 220 he would still be able to keep his speed that he has, and he has terrific speed, especially as I called it last night on Locked On 49ers. Next man speed, faster than the next man, right? Like, I mean, he just scoots out of there and he runs off on people. Man, how many times have you seen him do that? I see Deebo catch a short pass, and once he kind of gets on that straight line, he's gone. throw up the deuces. Deebo's out of there.